Thank you for being here for this presentation. I'd like to open with this. Can we make this a more beautiful world without God's direct intervention? Well, I'm going to answer for you, yes. If we become God in the flesh and do what a loving God expects of us. Now, I'm going to bet my bottom dollar that at the conclusion of this presentation, each of you will say, I am going to become God in the flesh. Now, I'd like to ask you a few more searching and telling probes, because the probes are going to be correlated with this presentation. And the first probe is so paramount because this probe is going to give birth to the latter probes. And here's the first significant probe. Do you believe that God is real? And if so, do you believe that this real God answers our prayers? And should this real God answer our prayers? And do you believe that this real God plays favorites or miracles granted by this real God? The trials and suffering, the tribulations that we go through, is this nothing more than a plan by this real God? And do you believe that this real God exists in the sky? And do you believe that heaven is in the sky? And do you believe that we can have heaven right here on this earth? Now, the final probe is this. Do you believe that man is capable of answering prayers, and should man answer prayers? Now, I want you to know this: in no way am I giving this presentation to certify that God is not real. Contrary to that, I do believe that God is real. God exists. But then why are we having this presentation? Well, we're going to analyze, to dissect if God answers prayers, or is it man that answers prayers? Maybe God does not even become involved, but man is involved. Okay, we're going to start with the first theme, and that is miracles. How many of you believe that God grants miracles? Well, consider this. I was at a church service, and the minister postulated this. Folks, God grants miracles. I can prove it. You see, a family asked me to go to the bedside and pray for their teenage daughter. They said, Reverend, the hospital people say there's nothing else they can do for our daughter, and we need a miracle. Maybe if you pray, God will grant a miracle. So I went there. I prayed a couple of nights. Nothing happened. And a few nights thereafter, the family called me and said, Reverend, could you meet us at the hospital? I did, but I assumed the worst. So when I saw them, I said, I'm so sorry that your teenage daughter did not recover. I gave it my best. They said, stop, Reverend. Listen, our daughter is back. Our daughter recovered. God granted a miracle. And guess what, Reverend? The first thing out of our daughter's mouth, you think it would have been, where am I? How did I come here in the hospital? What happened to me? How long have I been in a coma? No, the first thing from our daughter's mouth, where's my cell phone? I need my phone. I need to text some people. Who's been texting me? I gotta find out. That's our daughter for you. See, our daughter thinks of nothing but her cell phone. You see, folks, God grants miracles. No, Reverend, God does not grant miracles. God does not play favorites. And if God would have granted this miracle, God would have been playing favorites. Do you know how many people, Reverend, I'd say at least millions, pray for a miracle every minute? They don't get it. A parent may say, God, I need a miracle. My child has cancer. Remove it, please. It doesn't happen. You know, a miracle is something that we do not understand. We can't process it. You know, there are so many things at work here. And I surmise this much, that the people at the hospital say, you know what, we got some experimental drugs here. Let's give it to this young lady. Maybe she'll recover. And she did. Now, I'm not saying that miracles do not happen, but God does not grant miracles. Now, let's go to the next thing, and that is this. Does God answer our prayers? And should God answer our prayers? And you may say, yes, God answers our prayers. I don't know what kind of fool would ask that. You may say, I can prove it. You see, I prayed for a large house. I prayed for a loving family, for a wonderful job and good health. And God gave me everything I prayed for. But your heart must be in the right place, and God will know it, and God will give you what you wish for. No, none of that's valid. You see, God would be playing favorites. you probably had a strong desire to achieve your goals, and there's so many elements at work here. But I tell you what, let's go to the Gospel of Mark and see what Mark says about praying. Well, if you pray for something, you must imagine that you already have what you want. And if that's the case, you will have it. Mark is saying this. I want you to listen. You must taste what you want, feel it, smell it. And if you get that feeling and say, oh, this feels good, you know what you're going to do? You're going to find the circumstances that you need. And if you can't find the circumstance, you're going to make those circumstances become a reality so you can achieve what you want. Now, about that wonderful job that God gave you, God did not give you that job. But you say, yes, God did. I prayed for that job. Listen, chances are you were the most qualified person for that job. You might have studied night and day for that job. But God does not play favorites. Consider how many people wanted your job. They prayed for it. Why would God play favorites and give it to you? Consider this much. There are 8 billion people in this world, and all of us pray. Listen, a baby will say something like this. Oh, I hope my mother will not put me down. Oh, I feel so relaxed in my mother's arms. A child will say this. I wish I had another cookie. Oh, I could use 2 cookies. A teenager will say, I wish that someone would go with me to the prom. I got to find someone to go to the prom with me. And an adult would say something like this. I hope I can find someone to come and love me. You see, when we wish and we hope and we want a favor, it's a prayer, and we all do it. But you know what? It's a good thing that God does not answer our prayers. Here's why. We wouldn't do anything. We'd use God as a genie. God, I'm going to stay in the bed. I'm not going to do anything. Give me $1 million. I know I wouldn't get out of the bed. And here's something. Mechanics, doctors, lawyers, custodians, they would not do anything. Just ride around in that luxurious vehicle that God gave them. So how could we have a functioning world? This will not be a fruitful, productive world. And God knows that. And here's another thing. We would use God nefariously. God, someone broke my heart into 1 trillion pieces. Punish him for me. Give him more sores than Lazarus. Or this. You know, God, I don't like that race of people. Get rid of them. I don't like that group of people. Do me a favor. Get rid of them. I don't like someone's sexual orientation. Get rid of them for me, God. See, God realizes that. Now, we do hear a competitor saying something like this. I want to give grace, glory to God for my victory. Couldn't have done it without God. Yes, you could have. You are the better competitor. God does not play favorites. And what you're doing is insulting the person that you have defeated with that. Don't say that. Now let's go to the next theme, and that is this. Is man capable of answering prayers? Or only God can answer prayers? And you will say, what a simple sermon. Man cannot answer prayers, only God. That's why God is God. That's why God is omnipotent. That's why God is so awesome. Who could fix their mouth to say something like that? And you may say, oh, wait a minute now. If man could answer prayers, I can't. I'm only one person. But you know what I do? I go into my pure heart, come out with the best prayer I can get. And I say it for those people who are suffering, those people who need my help, those people who are oppressed, you know, they're homeless and so forth. That's all I can do. Now you listen. You know that your prayers are fruitless. Why would God answer your prayers and you're praying for the people who pray themselves? That doesn't make any sense. And about you being only one person, nothing you can do. Yes, you can, because you are one person. And because you are one person, there's so many things you can do. You must become God in the flesh and answer people's prayers. There's nothing that you will ever do for someone that's trivial. You must get involved. And you say, I still don't believe you. I don't believe man can answer prayers. Okay, tell you what, come with me. We're going to go into the second house of Corinthians, room number 9, and we see a group of people in there. We're going to call them Group B. And they're so lively, we don't know what they're talking about, but they seem to be energetic. And here comes Group A. And they enter this room and they say, hello, folks, we come to join y'all. We are sure that you all don't do nothing but pray for people and ask God to alleviate their suffering, because we know that man cannot do anything. They can't answer anyone's prayer. So we would like to join you. And someone from Group B says, no, That's not what we do. We go into our heart and find ways that we can answer someone's prayer. We become God in the flesh. We spend energy. We don't use pretexts. We just get involved. And someone from Group A said, oh, I know. It said, First House of Corinthians. We're going to go. And somebody from Group B said, no, don't go there. That's our sister. They do the same thing we do. They just use different techniques and different avenues to answer someone's prayer. And you'll say, Group B, say Group A, but let me tell you this. I have seen literature floating around, and I picked up a pamphlet, and it says something like this. We will instruct you how to go out on the street corners and boast how awesome God is. And we'll give you some wearing paraphernalia that says something about God. Now, I don't remember the group, but I do remember reading it. Oh, I remember reading another pamphlet, and it says something like this. If you join us, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is go on social media and say something like this. If you don't have what you wish for, maybe you didn't sow a seed, or God doesn't want you to have it, but that's not who we are. Now, I want to give you a working case of a stranger participating in answering a stranger's prayer. Now, I was in a dollar retail store, and there was a lady in front of me with her young son. And this lady was dressed in a fast food worker's uniform. And while the cashier was adding up her items, this lady noticed a container on the counter, so she removed it to see what was written on it. Could you please help Susie Q to get back on her feet? She's a single mom. She's lost her child. Please donate as much money as you can. Well, without a moment of hesitation, this lady dug into her purse, came out with a few bills stuffed in that container. Now, after the cashier satisfied my purchase, I was able to catch up with this lady. She was about to get into a vehicle that seemed to be held together with duct tape, rubber bands, and all of that. And I said, lady, may I ask you a few questions, please? Why would you give money and put that money in that container? I mean, it's going to a stranger. You'll never hear, thank you. And you don't know the race of the stranger. I mean, and I don't mean to be flip, but don't you need your money? And this wonderful lady says, I do. But listen, if I can donate what I can afford to give, and someone else comes along and they donate what they can afford to give, and someone else, maybe this lady will be able to get back on her feet. You see, I don't care about the race. I don't care if it's a stranger. But you're right about one thing. I do need my money. But if I can donate something, it's not going to change my way of living. What a wonderful lady. Oh, she has that good stuff in her heart. It's flowing. We all should have that righteous stuff in our heart. But you know, I surmise this much, that this lady is grateful for what she has. She does not dwell on what she wishes she had. Of course, she prays. And this is such a telling lesson for her young son, because when a young son becomes an adult, he's going to say, I'm going to emulate my compassionate mother. Now, I do believe that when we feel good about ourselves, we are more apt to share what we have with someone else. We might say, well, I got just a large bowl of gumbo, and I see you're hungry. You get yourself a spoon, and I got some leftover biscuit, and we're going to devour this. You see, when we love ourselves, we want to transfer that loving feeling to someone else. Could be done by default. Consider this. Oh, what a wonderful blouse you have on. It's so pretty. Your cap. I really love your cap. We want someone else to feel good. Contrast that with someone who's going through the bowels of hell. They are suffering, and they want you to suffer with them. Now, what they got to do is trick their moral conscience, because their moral conscience said, don't do this. And they say, oh, no, I got some pretexts, conscience. You see, that person talked about my family. They don't like me. They hate their own race of people. They're not a Christian. They don't think the way I do. No, I don't like them. Can't stand them. Now, consider this. It's been said that the way we see someone, or the way society sees someone, is the way we're going to treat them. And the way we treat them is what they're going to become, or who they will become. Say this. We see a race of people, or a person, or a group of people as being immoral, inferior. Well, we're going to treat them like that. You know what we're going to do? To make sure, we're going to put a horn over their head and put a light on it so they'll be devilish. And as a result, we're going to say, we're not going to help you. You don't deserve to be here. I'm not going to answer your prayers. And as a result, that donation that you're giving to that group of people, race of people, or person will say, you know what? I'm going through self-loathing, self-despise, because I don't believe in myself. I'm worthless. Whatever will be, will be. Contrast that with someone that society says, oh, you're worthy to be here. You're moral. Well, society will put a halo over the head, put a light on it, and say, I'm going to treat you fairly because I believe you belong here. You're okay. So I'll have your back. I'll answer your prayers if necessary. And the group or race of people or person receiving that donation say, you know what? I have confidence. I know I can be someone. This is my life. Now, consider this. 50% of the way we feel about ourselves has been donated to us. Athletes perform better in their own arena. Why? Because they have someone saying, we got your back, cheerleading you. Go ahead on. You can get it done. Now, let me give you another case of a friend answering a friend's prayer. Well, I was in the lobby of a doctor's office, and the lady is sitting next to me, and of course, you know, she was on a cell phone, so jubilant. And after she had concluded, she said, sir, I hope I did not annoy you, but I was talking to my best friend. I had to call my best friend. You see, I'll go over there sometimes, and I experiment with her with some new cookies. I spend the night. We talk about sweet nothings and all of that. You see, sir, my best friend has an incurable illness, and the doctors say any day now we're going to lose her. But I was trying to tell her I forgot that I have to get my treatment. You see, I have stage 3 breast cancer. What a wonderful lady. God in the flesh, answering her friend's prayer. Because her friend prays, God, if I got to exit this world, I don't want to go alone. And she tells her friend probably, you mattered in this world. Now, the key here, this lady was not indifferent. That's the key. You see, when we are indifferent, listen, we are selfish. We are detached from reality. We don't want to answer anyone's prayer. The only people that we care about are our family and maybe a few friends. And that's it. We'll put up a firewall so we don't have to listen to people who are suffering. We could care less. We'll say, leave them in that black hole down there. God must have wanted them to be there. They're worthless. They're probably not going to be anyone. You see, being indifferent is so devastating. It's toxic. I'm telling you, people, it destroys lives. Consider this much. Every day, tens of thousands of children died from lack of food. Clean water, rampant diseases are just taking over them, and they pray that someone comes and alleviate their suffering. But we don't care. We don't get involved. We will never answer their prayers. Now let's talk about indifference in a church, how deplorable it is. What do you do in a church? Well, we every first Sunday, 500 of us get in a circle. We hold hands and we pray for those people who are despised, those people with heavy burdens. We ask God to remove their burdens. Let me tell you something. You know that your energy is a waste. Listen, why would God answer your prayers? But I do tell you that you are accomplishing something. You know what that is? Getting germs on your hands. Now, you could easily get committees to go and spruce up someone's home or chaperone someone to the doctor's office, but you're indifferent. You don't care. You use those pretexts. What about indifference in a community? Oh, I love talking about this. Do you get involved? Well, there's poverty there, immorality is crime, and so forth. What do? I don't know. I don't do anything. It doesn't bother me. What do? I don't see anything I pray for. No, you don't. And you? Well, you know, my family has everything. Thank God. God was nice to me. What if someone asks you to help them they want to improve the lives of young people, to give them a fighting chance. And you're going to help them, right? Because they got some good ideas. No, why not? I don't care. Okay, they're going to ask you, if you're not going to be involved yourself, would you please put it on social media? I mean, so someone else who can see this or say, I got some ideas, I'll join you. You'll do that, won't you? No. No? Why would I do that? They're just showing off. They think they're better than me. If I don't do it, then it shouldn't be on there. I would not help them. You mean to tell me that your jealousy, you would let so many lives be destroyed? That's crazy. Let me tell you something. Jealousy and indifference are the two most toxic, pernicious sins. And you mean to tell me that you're not going to help? And it's more pronounced in the underserved or the disadvantaged communities. Now, how about this? Some of you all will say, well, I was walking down the street and I saw this disheveled man. Oh, he was homeless. I could smell him a mile away. And I said, I'm in a good mood. So I went in my pocket, came out with a 20 spot, and I walked up to him. I said, here, homeless man, I know you need it. Take this 20 spot. Well, all he did was look at me. He didn't say thank you. He rolled his eyes. I said, I don't believe this. Oh, I said, I'm going to see what he's going to do with my 20 bucks. I hope he buys food, and I look around, there's a liquor store around the corner. I was right. He came out with a bottle of liquor and some cigarettes. I said, well, you just cannot help those type of people. They don't want to work. They just want to be the way they are. I'll never do it again. And let me ask you something. Did you put restrictions on that $20? Well, you shouldn't have. And how about this? How do you know that the liquor and cigarettes are not therapeutic for them to have them get through the day and night? And you know what you could have done? You could have walked up to that person and say, hello, sir, what is your name? Oh, Mr. XY, my name is XX. Look, all I have is $20. Would you please accept my donation? And I'd also like to ask you, how's your day going? Because mine is terrible. But you didn't do that. And this person who you gave the money to, Mr. Giver, and that's what you are, would have said, oh, thank God, someone cares about me. I'm going to get a fighting chance. Oh, I got to tell my buddies about this. Someone called me Mr. and asked me how was my day going for my name. But you know what? You didn't want to give that money to them. You just wanted to try to trick your moral conscience. I'd tell someone, you see, I can't help those people. That's why I don't give. Just leave them down there. And this is going to take the icing off the bundt cake. Listen, you know, if I won the mega $1 million lawyers lottery, whatever it is, you know what I'd do? I'd give half of it away. I don't need all those millions of dollars to be happy. Oh, I see on TV, those children with bloated stomachs, no food in there, clothes falling off of them. They're crying, so much stuff coming out of their mouth and nose and eyes. Oh, and the mothers cannot even nurture their children. The reason is there's no milk there. They don't have food themselves. I can't stand it. I just take the remote and change it. I would give half of my money away. Now you be quiet. Your moral conscience is saying, you're giving me a migraine headache with this foolishness. You know that you would not give them a plug nickel. You're not doing what you can do right now and you don't need money. You leave me out of this foolishness. Now, about indifference. The great philosopher George Bernard Shaw said this much. The worst sin towards our fellow creatures is not to hate them. Rather, it is to be indifferent. It's the essence of inhumanity. It destroys life. It's so pernicious. And we could save those lives if we become involved and do not be indifferent. You know, it's been said that the opposite of hate is not love. The opposite of Christianity is not atheism. The opposite of violence is not kindness. In all cases, it's indifference. Oh, it's so pernicious. Oh, it's toxic. It leaves a stench on you. Now, I wanted to co-found, and I did finally co-found a mentoring program, and this was Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And I needed people to participate. Well, a few of them did, but not as many as we would like to have. And I would ask people, go to churches, community, why aren't you involved becoming a foster parent, adopt children, become a mentor? Tell me why. I'll tell you why. I don't want to. You see, those children are evil. Haven't you been watching TV? It came from a bad seed. No, they would cut your throat quicker than a duck can pluck a June bug. Oh no, I tell you why they're so mannish. They're so warmish. You know what? They'll steal from you. They will steal the sweetness out of a gingerbread cake before it's even baked. No, I'm not going to get involved. Now, all of those are nothing but pretexts to keep from being involved. Now, these children pray that someone love them, come to them, but they're going to use a pretext. Now, let me say this, and I'm going to give my spin on what Victor Hugo said about sin and darkness. This is a famous quote. And remember, this is my spin. If young, innocent souls are left in darkness, of course, sins are going to be committed. But should we blame those innocent souls for their immoralities? No. We should put culpability on the parents and on society to some degree. You see, the parents and society left them in darkness, gave them no guidance, no light whatsoever. Didn't say, oh, you're supposed to be this way. This is the way you be to become moral and so forth. And maybe the parents did not know what to do. Maybe they were treated wrongly. I don't know, no love or something like that. And society probably said, they were born into poverty. There'll never be anyone. They have no hope. So why should I help them? And someone may say, metaphorically now, they were born in the weeds. They'll never have cotton, and they certainly will never have tall cotton. Metaphorically, they'll never have anything. No, society's better off without them. Leave them in a black hole. Now, if you have a friend that lost his or her job and they're the breadwinner, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm not going to do anything, you may say, because they want my money. I don't have any money. No, stop. They don't want your money. They know you don't have enough money. But they would like for you to listen, offer some words of encouragement. And maybe they'll say, I'm going to give a fighting chance to get back on my feet. But you will not go to them and say, you see, God has a plan for you. God wants you to suffer. I know how you feel. Don't say foolish things like that. Consider this. They are angry. They believe that God has abandoned them. They feel ashamed. And when you are ashamed of yourself, you hate yourself. You can't stand yourself. Now, I want you to listen closely to this. I know someone. I know this person better than anyone alive. And this person went through indifferent. This person came to this city needing a friend. Could you please help me, brother? Spare a few kind words. I don't need you to spare a dime. Please, no. Why not? I don't know you, and I only help people that I know. You may not even be a Christian. Would you help me? No. You know, all you do is show off. You know, you hate your own race of people. I wouldn't help you. You don't think the way I do. Leave me alone. And as a result, this person going through all of this became very depressed. You know, stress hits you, and then comes depressed. And when you are depressed about something, you destroy your health. I'm telling you, literally, and you'll never get your health back. And if you're an older person, you'll never get that health back. All because people were indifferent to you. You know, when they're indifferent to you, you feel it's your fault. You blame yourself. You say, it must be something wrong with me. You don't consider that those people's attitudes are like that. And then this person, I'll tell you, it's me. And I think you figured that out. And I want to say this, I got a video, it's called Decades of Depression. You'll never believe what I went through and how people treated me and how they destroyed my health. But let me say this to you. When someone is indifferent to you, it just destroys you. And consider this much. If you know someone who's needs your help, what are you going to do? Well, you could text them and say, if you need me, let me know. They know you're not. And listen to this. I would text people and say, okay, and I tried calling them. They have call ID. And I say, if you need me, I'm going to show you. I will help you. I will not be indifferent. And I surmise they picked up the text and say, is this a fool? He's being sarcastic. Why would he help me? And I don't answer his prayers. No way. This person would never come over to my house and stink up my house. But what you can do, go to someone who's suffering, who feel hopeless, and say, come on, come out with me. Put on some clothes. I'm going to treat you. We're going to go to dinner. Or even better, you could say, come over to my house. I'm going to treat you. We're going to watch the ball game. We're going to play dominoes. And maybe my spouse will cook up something. You know, it's something about when we are face to face. It's a psychological approach. It mitigates our suffering. We feel that we are valued. Listen, folks, we all need help at time to time. And if someone asks you to donate clothing, what are you going to do? Well, don't go into your closet and come out with something that's falling apart and say bakers can be choosy. Yes, bakers can be choosy. Go to a retail store and purchase something new, and they'll really feel great about that. And if you don't believe me, go to Hebrews, the 13th chapter, and they'll tell you about giving. They'll say, when you give, sacrifice, give something that you want. Folks, we all are in this together. We all need help. And you know, the people who refuse to help me say, ask God. They didn't say that. They came to me for me to answer their prayer for a favor. Folks, we can help each other. And listen, God does not answer our prayers. It's going to be people answer our prayers. It could be someone in a supermarket that let you go in front of them. That's a prayer because you wished and hoped that that person would say, oh, you only have 5 items. Come on. Now, I'm going to end it with this. You do not have to believe in a higher power to fulfill someone's prayer or to be moral. You know, for 80 years, I have known this much, that the greatest gift that you can give someone is not money, you don't have enough, but it's your empathetic heart. When you are empathetic to someone, you put yourself in their place. You put yourself in their shoes, their clothing, their underwear, their flesh. And you'll say, that could be me out there. I see how they're suffering. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to get involved because I believe that that could be me. Listen, the promised land that God wanted each of us to have is right here. It's not up there. We don't know. And we can give everybody the promised land. And the promised land was granted to us from the minute we took our first breath. You know, listen. God gave us this promised land, and we must not turn a blind eye, a closed heart to those people who are racially depressed, the grievous, those who are tied, same-sex people, those who find clear direction. No, we must answer their prayers. And how do we?